Across the Park podcast is proud to be sponsored by Globe Gas and Heating. For the best kitchen and bathroom renovations, boiler servicing and repair, and central and underfloor heating in the Northwest, head over to globecentralheating.com and quote Across the Park for a free quote.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Across the Park podcast. Boy, was I humming along to that tune then. Sounded like the park end yesterday afternoon. We are 24 hours removed from David Moyes' first victory, and his first victory at Goodison Park. After being 3-0 up against Spurs, Everton got over the line with a 3-2 victory. Absolutely delighted with that one. Me and Millsy will be chewing the fat over that victory, and obviously the upcoming fixture against Brighton, and plenty of the social media questions which we always get from our loyal followers. Millsy, before we get into it, how are you feeling? As I say, 24 hours on from a brilliant victory, brilliant performance at home against Spurs.
It's still largely as good as I felt last night when I went home, similar to yourself. You know, when you've got young children who've got football bugs like ours, it's nice to be in that environment. And today, I've been in work, obviously didn't have the children, just be able to analyse the game a little bit more. And you know, what a good day that was yesterday. We had a nervous last 15-20, didn't we, which we'll come on to, but I've said it and you've said it. The world is a better place when Everton win,
isn't it? And just to kind of pick up on your like relation or the relation to the kids and the relationship with Everton via us. In the morning, I've said this to a few people. Me and Jem were lying in bed with Oliver, my youngest, and Jem was like, "You wear your Everton top today, mate? Everton are playing." Like, what scores are going to? He went 6-0, as they do. He's 5, by the way. Obviously, he doesn't.
It nearly was at half time.
Yeah, well, that's what it means, 3-0 at half time. And Jen turned around and went, "If Everton wins 6-0, you're not going to see your daddy for a week." He started crying because he didn't understand that was a good thing. I said, "No, mate. If Everton win 6-0, I'm going to bring home the biggest pizza you've ever seen." So when Jen told him the score, he said, "Is he still going to get a big, massive pizza?" We actually went to the Blackstock Market after it.
I see the pictures, yeah.
I had a little pizza there, but
salsa.
Yeah, but no, I actually had a pizza because he made me get a pizza. But it was a good night for the family, and obviously a great day for the Blues.
So it was good for me as well. I think we touched upon it yesterday on the instant match. Half time, concourse, singing.
Brilliant.
It's been a long time.
Half-time concourse, bar empty as well. It's great. I come down and
42, get a pint.
Well, no, I didn't actually. Went down at like 47 because there was like a load of added on minutes. And Kevin, who sits next to me, was trying to make me feel guilty because we didn't clap the players off. I went, "Well, Kev, we also don't boo the players off either. We're always down here just before it." But we came down, the yellow bar's empty here.
Yeah. I was talking before. I was talking to someone before at the club actually, and they were saying that they felt it was a good. And they referenced that every time Everton got a corner and went forwards, Everton, the crowd were with them. That first half was the best first half I've seen in a long time.
Best half I've seen in a long time. I think the best half I've seen since the second half against Crystal Palace, where we, under Lampard, where we had to get those 3 goals. And obviously, not just because of the 3 goals. I think it was the fans, as you say. It was the momentum that the players brought in terms of the play, the pressure they put them under. And just, again, it just felt like it was wave after wave.
Yeah, where we are on the park end, Everton was coming at us and coming at us. It was great.
Well, I couldn't remember, like particularly in the park end. I think the Gladys Street have had it a lot down the years, but we're commonly, obviously, seeing Everton in the first half, aren't we? And not as much in the second half. But I can't remember that much that many shots, that many opportunities, and that much positive, as I say, momentum or pressure in the attacking third for us.
That's what made for me the last 15-20 even more like someone said behind me, got Bournemouth vibes here when Tottenham scored 1. I said, why have you just said that? Because now I've got the Bournemouth vibes now. And then when Richarlison scores, that was late on. And I think we're programmed, aren't we, as Evertonians to expect the worst. And there was a little bit, not a little bit, there was a lot of anxiety in the park end there. We wasn't know where we are. And if Tottenham come forwards again, have Everton got enough mentality to deal with it? And we did. And that's what made that full time, that moment where
nice bit of relief. Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't have wished that. I would have preferred to have breezed through the 3-0. But again, I think there's always going to be, I think, a degree of PTSD for those players, isn't there, when you've lost a lead the way they have. But I think just to hold on there, and I'm gonna touch on a few questions now because it's probably perfect before we get into analysing our goals and, as you say, analysing some of the negative side that was still creeping in. First one, which is Everton views on X. Again, thanks to the lads or the lad, I'm not sure. They always comment and ask questions, so thanks again. Favourite goalie yesterday?
The third Tottenham goal we never conceded. But no, NJ's goal was just brilliant. It was to have a player. And I said to you yesterday, I seen Anders Limpar in the park end in the toilet and I shook his hand. And it's more dangerous for him to shake my hands because he was coming in as I was going out. But Anders, if you're watching, I do wash my hands. But Ndai, there was a little bit of proper wing play in that goal where he got the ball and it was like, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to manoeuvre myself here by dragging this team forward to be in a position to shoot that goal. And the Tottenham defender, the number 6, I think it was, I can't think of his name.
Dragerson.
He got dragged everywhere. Dragerson. He got dragged. Yeah. He was on right and left, and he even tried to commit a foul if you watch the slow motion back. And that for me was a brilliant goal. And the second goal in any game is important, isn't it?
I mean, I'll come to just briefly going back to that. I loved Anders Limpar, but it gave me Kanchelskis vibes. Yeah. I haven't seen a player go past an opposing player with that ease since Kanchelskis in terms of just pure pace, balance. Limpar was good, but Limpar was he didn't have that type of pace, I don't think. He had the trickery, but maybe not the pace. Do you know what? Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, in terms of the quality of the goal, it was have to be Ndai. I loved the third goal, though, you know. I loved, again, and we're going to come on to the standout performance. I think Jesper Lindstrom was outstanding. But you could see, it was one of them where, like, again, from the park ends and from motor seats, you're always looking at it and you go, do this, do that. I was hit the far post. You could see Tarkowski literally went like that, put it on my head, and he put the ball right in his head. But Tarkowski had seen the ball for so long, and he was so deliberate with that header. It was undefendable. Now, Archie Gray has a bit of a mare there. He obviously got turned inside out by Calvert-Lewin for the first goal, and he ends up scoring an own goal. He's a top player. Archie Gray. Thought that. You proper Everton's him on the match preview. You were raving over him. I did, and I actually said it to Kevin next door, and next to me, and I'll do that every game if that's what it takes. But I just love how deliberate the play was. He only had one thing in his mind. Lindstrom, obviously, when he's seen that perfect delivery with the cross, Tarkowski, and although I guess it's the only goal we didn't score because it was an own goal, it still gave me just as much satisfaction. Yeah, we created that goal by Pepper and Tottenham. We did, yeah, and I think that for me, look, the Ndai one is a brilliant individual goal, massive goal for Dominic Calvert-Lewin in terms of his confidence, the first goal, but that third one is what I hoped Moyes would bring back, that whole get the ball into the box, you know, deliberate. Again, it was like Tarkowski hung in there, knew that ball was coming back in. I'm not sure that would have been the case. I think it's Daichi, they've probably been halfway back to the centre of the pitch. Yeah, but no, all three of the goals I think meant something different to us. I think that, again, we might as well touch on it now. I think the Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal was huge. Huge for him, huge for us. Moyes, I think I've heard him speak more about Dominic Calvert-Lewin than the whole squad combined since he's come in. How important he is. He clearly wasn't impressed on Wednesday, Moyes, because he was the majority of his press conference was how we needed quality in attacking areas. And it was quite interesting to hear Moyes yesterday after the Tottenham game where he said, okay, well, Dominic got one, I'm challenging him to go and get. It should have been more. Done. And Moyes' first thing, and Moyes was always like that. He was like that. Never happy. Yeah. Even when we had really good players like Rooney and Barkley, and when Seamus Coleman was coming through as a young right back, he'd always sort of say, I want more. It's fine, getting good moments out of these players. And that was an interesting comment, but yet the Lewin one is, he's never, for me, he's never been blessed with being a natural instinctive finisher, but in that moment, it could have gone very wrong, and you've got to give him credit that he got the ball. He not only made the defender not know where he's going, the keeper had no chance. The keeper was sort of, I don't know where he's going to put this, and that was a really good bit of play and a good goal, but I just wish he would have got another one, especially the one he got put through. The Branthwaite ball, and he just couldn't control it, and he should have really controlled it. Yeah, and I think obviously we touched on the crosses, we touched on, well, by speaking about the Ndai goal, there's clearly been an instruction from Moyes, look, get the ball, go and run at them. Yeah. He was definitely given a lot more freedom, and I'm going to go briefly into the whole tactical side, of the shape from Moyes yesterday and the key changes he made, which I think made a big difference. lost my train of thought now because I've gone.
Well, you said yesterday, what was interesting yesterday, because when you said it, I thought, that would be a good thing to talk about more in depth tomorrow. Is you said that the Lindstrom rolling team allowed Ndiaye to cheat and get in spaces and pockets.
Yeah, there was something else I wanted to ask you about before that, but I might come back to it because I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, let's touch on that then. Obviously, he's brought in O'Brien. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm fairly sure from the appearances he's had already, he's had more minutes under Moyes in a couple of games than he has under Dyche in the whole season. Now, the interesting thing is he's obviously not displaced the two centre-backs. I think that would have been a mad decision to remove or change the Branthwaite-Tarkowski partnership, but he's added to it by putting another centre-back alongside them. Now, you touched on it, and I'll obviously come into that whole cheating thing in a second. The way you put it was like, by putting him in there, he's, a little bit what he used to do with Yobo and with Lescott. He's obviously created that solidity, but he's also created a degree of fluidity to sometimes it looked like a back four, him clearly being right back. Sometimes it looked like a back three where you had, the left hand side with Michalenko and the right hand side with Lindstrom push further up the pitch. And it's solid still back there, because I don't think I've really seen O'Brien drift much further than the halfway line. But he was still providing a little bit of natural width in that full-back position.
Yeah, I think O'Brien, I think he was taking our throws. He looks like he's got a long throw in him. He was taking our throws, wasn't he? And and I said to you yesterday, it was just refreshing that I can't say we've all been, because it's wrong and we'll get pelted for that. I've been crying out for our old manager to simply think about changing the formation. But yesterday we had a manager who was doing it in game, and I don't want to pay it too much, because look, there'll be times where we're probably saying he's got things wrong, because that's what podcasters do. We're very easy to call out when it's wrong, very easy to credit when it's right. But yeah, the Yobo comparison's there, because he did play Yobo right back sometimes when he thought he had to. He played Lescott at left back times when he thought. And what I can say about Jake O'Brien is I don't think he put any foot wrong yesterday. No,
I thought he was very good. I mean, he's clearly a very accomplished defender, and to some extent, you can't blame Dyche for not playing him when Tarkowski and Branthwaite had been fit. You can level it at him in terms of not playing when Michael Keane has been fit. But I think just kind of sticking with that theme for a second, what I was saying on the instant match reaction yesterday, which was great about the way that he set up that back five, back four, is Michalenko at times would tuck right in, literally tuck in alongside the centre-back, and it was allow for me, from what I could see, Ndiaye to just kind of drift wherever he wanted to. He didn't have to go, well, I need to stay out left because if we lose the ball, I've got to go and cover Michalenko and go and double up. It definitely seemed to be a bit of a, initiative to go, well, look, you're our best player. You go and find the space. In fact, he come inside. He plays a little 1-2 with guys, didn't he? But I've not really seen him in that inside left or inside position often enough where he can go and drive at the heart of the fences. But I think the key term for me, or the kind of tactical way of putting it, which is simple, is he was allowed to cheat. It wasn't like you have to go and... He wasn't playing as a traditional left-sided player would play. He wasn't playing as a traditional 10 would play. Sometimes you go and stand on the touchline. Sometimes you go and stand inside. I think that's really clever, that, because we haven't got... you touched on there, your Ross Barkleys, your Rooney's. We haven't got those players, those Mavericks in the squad. We're not blessed by them. No. But I think he is one of them players who can literally win you a game with a moment like that. No, and I think you need to accommodate for him. And I think it's fair to say Dyche didn't accommodate for that.
No, he didn't. Dyche treated, in my opinion again, our wingers as like second fullbacks. Ndiaye, and whether it was Lindstrom or Harrison, James Garner at times last season, they were there to really keep Everton in shape, and Everton had the ball. They had certain instructions to maybe put it somewhere, but there was so much freedom in both Lindstrom and Ndiaye yesterday. And the three at the back, we've just talked about O'Brien on the right-hand side. Credit to Branthwaite as well, because when Michalenko got forward, Branthwaite went over and said, now he's got license because he's covering Ndiaye.
He was old school, because I remember when I grew up and I was playing football, the way it worked, and I played fullback most of my junior career and as a young adult, it was always be, right, when the right back pushes up, the left back tucks in, it's like a back three. It's been replaced a little bit, that modern day, with like the midfielder dropping in.
The pivots.
And and dropping in between the two centre-backs. But it was old school, but it was really effective given the personnel, as you say. Michalenko's more than happy to tuck in. He is a bit more like a left-sided centre-back than a left full-back.
Yeah,
Likewise, Jake O'Brien is more comfortable tucking in than he is getting wide. But it allowed Lindstrom in a similar way to cheat. How often he got the ball and was wide, he was as wide as he could be, was driving at the heart, was whipping balls in. I think when we first signed him, and I didn't say it vocally as much because it was almost offensive to this former player. I likened him a little bit when we first got him to Delafeu in terms of that. He had that ability to put that kind of deeper crossing in behind the back four. He clearly has a bit of pace. He had directness about him, but we just haven't seen it at all. Whereas you look at the balls he put in yesterday, that one to Tarkovsky at the Park Ends, where it was in behind us, it was very Delafeu-esque.
The shot he had as well, he had the shot, didn't he?
Yeah, he strikes a clean ball, but we just haven't seen that because I don't even remember him having a shot.
Well, someone's put a clip on X. It's been reshared around, and it is that shot from Lindstrom. And a few seconds before that, you can hear Moyes so "Go, Jasper, go!" Like as if to say, take us forward. And again, going back to where we started the show on, to be in that Park End yesterday, much Everton attack, it's just a breath of fresh air.
100%. Well, I've got a few other questions, and some of them are going to take us into those kind of negative territories, I guess. Just quickly, we've touched on this, Harry, already, but I'll just bring it in anyway. So Harry asked the question on X. If wing-backs will be the preferred way to attack, which seems to be, would you put McNeil left wing-back? He's always worked hard defensively, offers a better ball than Michalenko.
I could see it maybe in-game doing it. I don't see David Moyes starting a winger at left-back.
Definitely not.
I can see times in our game where you might revert to it. I think you're more likely to see James Garner play on the right than McNeil. I can see why the question, what he said there, he's got a better ball, and I'm a critic of Milenko's attacking. I
personally think to answer your question, hopefully, Harry, that when McNeil comes in, that he'll play in the position that Ndiaye's played in, and Ndiaye will probably go and play in the Doucouré position. I think Doucouré will come on to it. I think Doucouré was still disappointing for me yesterday. Put a shift in, no doubt, and I wouldn't say it was a bad performance, but I think you actually said it was more like a 6-7 out of 10 than anything else. Okay, as soon as there's any more on that. Okay, I'll touch on this and this Gaz, not our mate Gaz. I just don't think Gaz.
You are our mate Gaz. Just slag Gaz off there. You are our mate Gaz, honestly. Paul, crying the laptop.
No, I mean, sorry, we've got a close friend who's in our WhatsApp group called Gaz. So, Moyes subs in his first reign were always defensive and cost us points at times. Keen on for Lindstrom yesterday, screamed he hasn't changed. Now it's probably not
if it was 1-1, I'd go with that. But we were defending a lead.
I mean, I was crying out for Lindstrom to come off at that point. He looked knackered, and rightfully so. I think he put a great shift in. Likewise, I think O'Brien. The plays he took off yesterday, I'm not saying I would have replaced them directly with the ones he brought in. I couldn't argue with it. I thought they looked tired. I think particularly O'Brien and Lindstrom, two players who've not had a massive amount of minutes, particularly O'Brien.
Yeah, look, it was, let's make no bones about it, it was a defensive change.
Yeah.
And we've said about the previous manager and the previous manager to that and the previous manager to that, is Leopards don't change the spots. Sean Dyche was never going to field an attacking team. Moyes is more. He's never going to be a Roberto Martinez, where Martinez would try and get a fourth. Moyes looked at that and said, it's 3-0, 3-1. My opinion, you get another centre-half in there to stop the cross, which O'Brien was doing. Can Keane do it? No, I don't think Keane was very good when he came on.
No.
But I think he's always going to get that from Moyes. I think he's always going to get a defensive mind. However, it's for me, he's still a lot more, and his team showed yesterday, a lot more forward-thinking than the previous manager.
Yeah, I agree. And I think... I think we will see more of that, and again, it's hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I think those substitutions, certainly his first spell, I was very critical of, but those types of substitutions I was crying out for once we got Martinez. Things like, come on, just shut the game up. Yeah. I'll take the 1-0. What are you doing? And the amount of times we get beat 4-1 when it was 1-1.
Yeah.
But
anyway. Used to be, was it Davy Weir for Andy Johnson?
Yeah.
He'd be 1-0 up.
Yeah.
Davy Weir.
I certainly don't think we can expect much difference in terms of that. But
so I think it's right that we covered as well before. I don't know whether you are moving off from the game now, but before we get to moving off from it.
I'm not moving off the game yet.
The 1878 and a display in the Park End. Unbelievable. Those, we're friends with a few of them, and I've got no problem in saying, Katie and Gemma, unbelievable people, boss people. I was speaking to Katie last night. They were there from 10:30 in the morning, till 5:30 at night. They missed the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game because the volunteers, they're asking for help. They're asking for people who, but next time they do it, they put a tweet up today to say the Merseyside derby in a couple of weeks' time. I think what they do at the minute is they're not using every flag. They want to use every flag, and they need around 100 volunteers for that. They're doing amazing things, and if we can use our podcast, our platform to anyone who wants to get into Goodison Park the day before a game or the morning of a game and have a photo, you know, in the Goodison, if you want that, help these guys out. But the display yesterday, where in the park ends, how good was it?
Brilliant, yeah. I mean, I admittedly just got in as that flag come over, and obviously the players were coming out, and it was brilliant. And again, the kids love it. It must be amazing for the players. I mean, we're commonly seeing it a lot more in the Glasgow Street. It looks amazing for us looking across. I'm sure it does just as much for the Glasgow Street. For the players coming out, I think gives them a lift, and I think it's got to make a huge difference.
Volunteers doing that.
I know. It's sad, isn't it? It's sad to a certain extent, but I don't want to be critical of the club. The club are obviously allowing them in, which is good. But yeah, if you are sitting there, obviously if you're interested in getting involved, please give them a shout. If you're not sure how to get in touch with them, get in touch with us. We'll pass you on. We definitely want to promote that, and hopefully me and you Mills we can step up on Derby Day as well.
I think the invite's been extended to us. I think we'll be happy to go down at least one game before
definitely.
It goes.
My daughter loves stuff like that, so you can earn a keep and come along. Okay, yeah, well, this isn't a question, but we'll just briefly touch on, I guess, some of the negative aspects that did creep in. You know, it's not going to be an overnight fix from David Moyes. I think the things that we were craving, we definitely seen yesterday in terms of more appetite from the players. So many times in the game where we seen us overload them in the penalty area and wide areas, which again what we want to see. More variety in terms of the attack and play. There was a few negative aspects. I mean, one particular moment which frustrated me, and look, I'm always the person who brings this up, so I'll do it again. Jordan Pickford for that second goal.
Look, it flashed across his entire 6-yard box. I've always been of the opinion that we're very lucky to have him. He's a good shot stopper. I think we would have been down shit street without a paddle a few seasons ago without in goal for us, but that is an element of his game that he never seems to have got better at. When that ball comes in a 6-yard box, Bournemouth 3 goals this season, except in end of August.
That far
all
post,
3 were in the 6-yard.
On the line, that, yeah.
And you sort of say, no, I don't know politics and internal, but Alan Kelly was the goalkeeper coach. That changed as he seems to have been better a couple of seasons ago. Is Alan Kelly being moved on?
I think
what helped
with goalies. I think you're always, when you take up one particular position, without getting too deep into the analysis of it, when you take up one particular position and a way of playing, you're always sacrificing something else. So I get the impression that he prioritises that near post, and he never wants to be beat on his near post, and he wants to be in that position. If that ball comes in, to go and address it and go out to it, that means that you're giving up space and you're leaving yourself more vulnerable. Now, the analysis, the way it is now, teams will be aware of that, and players will be aware of that, particularly in the wide areas. You know, you see Jordan Pickford's bottle, which tells you where each penalty taker might take. That same type of analysis is going on, sitting on the bench of their left back or left. Jordan Pickford doesn't like balls into that far post area. It's been so many goals that we've been picked off from. But I think the other frustrating thing for me, I almost seeing that coming in terms of something coming from him as a player. So there's about, again, if you were watching the game, watching things that were going on off the ball, there was a throw-in down at the Glasgow Street. Jordan Pickford runs over to the bench. I don't know, David Moyes having a chat with someone, runs right over to the bench. The throw-in took place, and he's like strolling back, and he ends up having to sprint
back.
He's
got a habit of that. He does seem to always be
Moyes
talking to the bench and shouting
Moyes
at the bench.
Moyes around and look to the bench and what's he doing? Get back in.
That's a personality thing. You're never going to get that away from him. He's that person. You seen it when Ghana guy lost the ball in the first half and we got off with one. He against the Ghana guy. You seen it yesterday for the first goal. He was barking at someone else's fault. That's a personality thing. He's always going to be active and talking and shouting, and I think that's just who he is. But there are areas of his game where I think teams are looking to exploit a simple ball in a 6-yard box. If the fullback can't cross it and the centre half can't get it, your goalkeeper should be able to get it. And he does seem. I'm a huge fan of him. Like I said, we've been in trouble a long time ago. But a ball in a 6-yard box, you'd hope your keeper deals with it. It added the anxiety. But what you said yesterday after the game, he said that we're definitely in the transfer window, definitely looking for players. He said there's areas of the team that could be better. And what I'd sum that up with, you might disagree, there's just lack of quality still in certain areas.
Yeah. I mean, look, on another day, and another team would have scored 5 or 6 before Tottenham got on the score sheet. I think the only exception I'd add to that, Son probably needs to score in the first half, and we were fortunate to get away with that. I think
that's the one, yeah.
A confident Heung-min Son puts that in the top corner, and it, makes it difficult for Pickford to save it. But I think, again, if you're going to be critical of the team, we've obviously spoke a little bit about the vulnerability to crosses and certainly a bit of PTSD going back to Bournemouth of throwing away leads, but it should have been way out of sight. It should have been 5-0, 6-0. We should have been seeing Harrison Armstrong on the pitch getting more minutes. Moyes has come out and praised him, but it wasn't that opportunity in the end because we've kind of left ourselves vulnerable.
What would you like to see in the next 2 weeks in not an ideal situation? An ideal situation would be you bring in real gems and real top quality, but to get us through till May, what would you like to see us go to be a certain position or just a bit of strength and depth? Or
I mean, I know we've certainly been linked with wide players, haven't we? The lad from Lyon,
yeah.
He's not going to be I'll tell you now from watching him, he's not going to be a fix in terms of the season. He might give us a bit of an extra dimension, a bit of extra pace. He's not going to get us goals and assists. Willian seems to be a very live opportunity. I wouldn't be against that for 6 months because he has got Premier League quality. He's obviously not got pace, but it feels a little bit like that Andros Townsend 6 month that we done it, and it worked okay. And we got us a few important goals and a few important assists. I think certainly if you're going into the last 20 minutes of games and you're needing someone to take some free kicks and corners and stuff, there's very few better, I imagine. I would love to see someone in that left back position who could give us another dimension. Obviously, yesterday it worked having that inside left back, inside centre back on the left, inside centre back on the right. But certainly, if we're playing against the team where we're going to be dominating the ball and being higher up the pitch, Michalenko's not going to give us what we need in terms of that wide area. And you can see that Baines has been working with him. He's trying to do other things, but just not got the quality. Not good enough. I mean, I would love to see. I mean, whether it's a possibility. Cresswell at West Ham's out of contract in the summer. David Moyes knows him well. He's a Liverpool lad. Admittedly, he's a cop-out.
He is, yeah.
But again, a very experienced left back, attacking left back. I'm sure there'd be a deal to be done there, considering he's out of contract in the summer at West Ham.
There's a lot of noise of Chilwell at Chelsea that they're looking to maybe just completely get rid of the handshake deal that allows him to go on a free somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that'd be great, wouldn't it, to get a Cresswell that's anywhere near his best, but you've got to worry about where he is as a player and a person,
a lot of injuries,
and his physical shape for Chelsea to be, wanting to pay him off. That's a dark place, for any team to be casting off an asset. And we've been there before where we've picked up players that are, not necessarily, I wouldn't say you could call Chilwell past the sell-by date, but a player who comes with a checkered injury past and we put him on a 4-year deal and suddenly we
couldn't do that, could you?
No, but I think that's his agent to be looking for that type of move because he's going to want security for his clients. And I think there will be teams like maybe Newcastle go on, we'll give it 3 or 4 years then.
You've got big money in other countries as well, which is now a factor. Any player who's out of contract, you're looking over towards a different area of the world now, aren't you? That's got the big money. Yeah,
but to go back to your question, I'd love to see a left back we can have who's a bit more dynamic, whether we get that on loan. I'd love to see us terminate the Harrison loan to enable us to do something domestically. I think yesterday exposed the fact that, probably deservedly, Beto's not going to get many minutes under Moyes because he's not going to give us what Calvert-Lewin gives us in terms of the ability to hold the ball up and so on.
That's such a tricky one because we know that he's been in Italy. Yeah. We know that Torino like him. And then we know that for whatever reason,
I mean,
Everton didn't do the deal.
Maybe they didn't do the deal to go, well, look, it's only fair to let the new manager look at him. I'd be surprised now if we weren't exploring, okay, that deal's there. Let them know that we're still happy to trade, but we need to get someone in ourselves first.
Yeah.
I think, they want to try and overcome. I mean, the Bros you want personally, and it was obviously the balk at the club for, what it cost them. Chelsea have apparently said, look, you can send them back, but you're paying his wages.
Yeah.
I'd do it just to free up the loan again.
Depends,
maybe that's a scenario of going, okay, well, that's another live option. This is a live option. So I think there's, as Moyes has said, we're actively trying to do stuff. I think there's probably loads of, like anything, one transfer, it tends to kind of knock the others on, doesn't it?
And I think the better one's the interesting one for me, because if you send him on loan with an obligation, then that money's coming in this PSR window. We can spend it now.
Yeah.
You can go and spend the 16 million or the 18 million that you've agreed. You can spend it now, and you can go and knock on someone's door and go, just take 15 for him.
Or we'll get 20 up front and we'll get...
This creative player who's on your bench, would you like to, come in 15 million for him? I think the better one will be the domino. That'll put Everton into action, because Chimitti's injured, Brozier's injured, Calvert-Lewin's fitness record. If you let Beto go, you've got to go and get another striker.
Well, you look at Chelsea squad, you look at Man United squad. Although I don't want to be that team again, they are littered with attacking players who could definitely improve us. I mean, I was looking down the kind of squad lists yesterday when I was thinking about it. Mason Mount would be an unbelievable, and he seems to be getting less and less minutes now. I think Cameron give him a chance at first. He's fit. He's fully fit for the first time in a while. I think there could be a deal there. I mean, we wouldn't be the only club, obviously, after someone like Mason Mount, but you'd imagine, he's living in the Northwest at the moment. It could be something. But yeah, obviously we'll watch the space. But to go back to your question, I think, as you said, I think we're
2 or 3.
We're still desperately lacking quality in that final third. I think defensive midfield, I think we're okay. You get James Garner back. You get Irabunim back. I think there's 4 players there. Guy obviously still showed he can still do a job. I think Mangala's a good player and he's getting better. I think he'll get better under David Moyes as well. So I think we're fine there. I think we're fine in the central defensive positions. I don't think it'll be a little bit naive to let Michael Keane go, even though I can't stand him.
You need 4 defenders, don't you?
Yeah, I think you need 4 centre-backs, and I think the fact he's now identified that O'Brien can also play to that side means you can justify keeping all 4. Right back, I think we're okay. I think Patterson come on and done a job yesterday. I think he's shown that he's got enough. Whether he wants to go, I think it's believed that he does want out at the moment.
Look, again, we're not in the habit of acting like in the nose and stuff, but we know Nathan Patterson was not happy under Sean Dyche at all. And that's not even breaking news. A guy down the pub could see that. But
I think, again, from what I hear, I think the first few games have convinced them that he's probably not going to get that many minutes under Moyes as well, in terms of, you've got Ashley Young who's coming in and he's clearly likes Ashley Young's experience. Yeah. You've got O'Brien who's slotted into that kind of safe right back role. I think if I was going to send a message to Nathan Patterson, like he listens to this podcast, it'd be look at what Moyes done to Seamus Coleman. When he was a similar type of player, weren't he, in terms of that marauding right back, and he'd give him 20 minutes here, 25 minutes there. He made him right mid, and I think he could do that. I think that right wing back position that Lindstrom took up, I think would be perfect for him in terms of him coming on and getting more minutes. But again, that side, I think the right, given that Lindstrom played yesterday as well and played so well, Patterson, Young, Coleman, I think we're fine. The left, I think we need 1, and I think we need 2 or 3 in the attacking third.
Yeah, for me, I'd go with 3. For me, I'd love to bring a really good left back in. You can add a different dimension to how we play. I'd love to bring a number 10 in, or just a central player who can really carry the ball forward, and a goal scorer.
Yeah,
don't want much, do we?
No, yeah, as always. Just a couple more questions before we come on and speak about Brighton and stuff. Okay. Baz on X, best and worst moments under Moyes Part 1, and what are you expecting from Moyes Part 2? So I guess thinking about what we've seen yesterday.
Before, I tried to think of a few. The worst one really was the semi-final against them. That was bad, but you wouldn't really pin that on. I don't think any of us got in the coaching really. Well, some might have done, but it wasn't a David Moyes issue kind of thing.
No.
For me, Wigan at home in the cup in the quarter-final.
That was going to be mine.
Where I just thought he got certain things wrong.
I've got another one as well. But
I remember that game. I remember we were losing 3-0. Fellaini stunk. And I think Fellaini argued with the crowd getting subbed and he booed him, and it was just a bad day.
Got Martinez the job.
Yeah, that was a bad one. And do you know what was horrible about that day? I don't know if you remember this. I walked past St. Luke's Church to get to the park end, and there's people selling coach packages for the semi-final at Wembley, and I seen it and thought, oh my God, is this ever a jinx? And the best one, there's loads of good derby wins and stuff, but I think it's despite the fact it never got us anywhere, really. we blew the money it gave us and we didn't build on it at all. But I think the day we finished fourth, that was a really good. I mean, we went out and we were. I think it was someone's birthday.
1-0.
2-0 against Newcastle. Cahill scored at the street end to make it 2. And I think even though we weren't mathematically done it, I think we were 6 points clear of Liverpool. They had 2 in hand and he has Arsenal away.
Well, yeah, that was the famous absolute.
And I remember the players. I remember the crowd was singing Champions League. We're having a laugh. And it was the likes of Tim Cahill, Mikel Arteta, Nigel Martin, Tony Hibbert, Alan Stubbs, Davey Weir, Leon Osman. Good players that we'd had a connection with. Lee Carsley, friend of the show, Lee Carsley. So for me, that would be it. What are you thinking when you?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go with when we qualify, but I'll mix it up. I think the worst moment to start with was Kiev. That away.
No, that was Bucharest.
Bucharest. Oh, that was
5-1.
Yeah, horrendous.
We were 1-1 at half time, and it just went sour.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrendous. And it was like, genuinely, we just needed to get even a couple of goals defeat would have been.
Yeah.
But it was an absolute, and that was one of the points where I was like, I'm done with him here. Like, how can you not deal with this away from home? Best moments, I'd have to say the 3-0 AJ derby. It was just brilliant day, and it was almost like this is a proper team. This.
Well, do you know that? Not that he's ever confirmed this, but enough people around the club have mentioned this as a story. Moyes ran on the pitch at full time with the whistle blew. And if you'd ever look back at that, he sort of overly celebrated. We weren't used to seeing Moyes like that. And he was hugging Cahill and hugging El Neville, and he was giving the Gladys the big. And that was due to the fact that it wound him up that when we were losing at Anfield, Benitez would go to the cop and he'd act like the cheerleader, and Moyes would have it when I get you. And I think Moyes enjoyed that day probably more than we did.
Yeah, definitely. He was dying to. I think he wanted to get excited a little bit more yesterday, but I think he realised, hold on, still a really good job to do it. But it'll be interesting at the end. God, I mean, it's starting to get emotional thinking about what it's going to be like the last Goodison game, particularly if it's a win and it's like, Well,
that's a good. Well, part 2, the question we're hoping for, that's probably a good thing. I think the immediate one I'm hoping for, and it's nothing really big. It's that we can go to Southampton at home in May and just everything's fine.
Yeah, and it can be
take your dad, take your son,
all
meet up, get you
about Goodison Park,
get the legends on the pitch. Yeah, the club can mark it and like a retro shirt day or something.
Yeah,
your granddad comes. I don't know. The immediate one for me would be
you want to be. I don't care less what the result is today. It's just a party atmosphere and the carnival atmosphere.
I'm going to see Colin Harvey. I'm going to see some of the 66 guys who are still with us. I want to see the 84 team. I want to see Neville Southall. Yeah. Bring Big Duncan on. Bring Tim Cahill on.
Yeah.
And for the young ones, can you bring not Ira Charlison, but
sounds like a shootout at half time. This
no, just bring them on.
Little game of 5-a-side.
And we're fortunate. Like some teams, no names. That lot can't afford screens. We've got screens and now you can play. You can play the moments, and you have the players on the pitch watching them. And if we've just added defeat, which we're taking into the weekends. At Newcastle, last game of the season, Newcastle, we've got to go and win. No one's going to enjoy it. No, so part 2, let's start with that.
Yeah, let's just we don't. And you're right. I think we're being greedy there. It's just we want Goodison and the fans and ex-players to be able to give Goodison the send off as it deserves 100%. without any clouds. And I think 3 weeks ago we certainly didn't think that was a possibility, or we were starting to worry about that. I think that's it in terms of questions, though. The ones we selected, as always, we had a massive amount of questions, so thank you for that. We always do appreciate it. Mills, okay, moving into the weekend. Brighton away. I mean, as tough a team as you could play at the moment in terms of where they are. Obviously, very very sure about the style of play. They've got all of their full attacking choices, or everyone back.
Great result last night for them at United.
Brilliant, yeah, and again, very much in keeping with the way they've been playing at the moment. And I hazard to say the type of fixture that Moyes probably hated in his first spell. A team away from home that's going to dominate the ball. I say hated the type of fixture he struggled with, and actually towards the end at West Ham struggled with as well.
It's a hard ask to ask us to go and win there. I think you've got to really hope that Everton can go there and get a point and get out of there. I think that's the realistic look.
However, just to kind of caveat that, we have done pretty well in the last few. Obviously, had that great win under Sean Dyche when he first came in.
Yeah,
we got a decent result last season where we got pegged back.
Yeah, we were winning until the last few minutes last season, weren't we? And it wasn't a set piece. We cleared the set piece, and then the second
phase from a set piece.
Yeah, we got done on it. So
it was I think it was another.
You never know. I think last season, I think when De Zerbi was there, I think they sort of plummeted a little bit down the table, didn't they? They were having a bit of a bad moment when we got them. I don't think that can be said about where they are now.
No.
I was really impressed that first game of the season by them. They got 3 pastas and they were just a good team.
Really efficient.
Look, I'll be dead honest with you. I've not concentrated on much football, to be honest. So I've not really noticed, I've not watched Match of the Day for a long time because of where we've been.
To be honest, Hertel has just got them playing a little bit higher up the pitch, a higher press, which they got exposed from early on in the season. Now they've kind of dropped off a little bit and been a little bit more clever in terms of how they defend. It was very much like the Barcelona line where they were playing on the halfway line, we'll catch it offside.
Yeah.
They've perfected that a little bit more now. They've now got the likes of, well, as we've seen at Goodison, Minter and Matoma have been the standout players for them in the last few weeks in terms of them coming in off the line, getting goals. So yeah, I mean it's very much in keeping with the best Brighton that we've seen and that we did see under De Zerbi.
Yeah, I think Lindstrom would be important because we're going to try and hit them on the counter, aren't we? I think if you can break at speeds with the right winger like Lindstrom, it'd be interesting to see where Ndiaye plays. Will Ndiaye be given more of a disciplined role on Saturday where it's he needs help with Matoma kind
I'm
of
not
thing?
so sure. I think it'll probably be Decore who has to sit in a little bit more.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I think, they will be looking to try and play through the thirds, right? And then they're not going to be lumping it long. So I think it'll probably be more of a, listen, you probably need to sit in between these two as opposed to playing off down with Calvert-Lewin.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Moyes make changes on Saturday, even though the team was just paired about how they were set up and how they played for large parts of the game on Sunday. I disagree. I just wouldn't be surprised.
I disagree.
If we see the team news and Ashley Young is in or someone I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I could see Ashley Young coming in for Lindstrom. I could see that being a change in terms of there's obviously reasons why Sean Dyche didn't play him and not all of them were complimentary to him or Lindstrom, but I still think he can be, he got at defensively. Obviously works hard, but he's not Ashley Young, is he, in terms of him being that secondary fullback. And I think, I didn't mind that change yesterday, Ashley Young coming on, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. And then maybe saying to Ndiaye, look, you almost play like there's a Decore role, give us a little bit of width at times, but mainly just get up with Calvert-Lewin and try and get a break for us or try and break that line. Because they, as I say, they do play a high line. And I think if you can get, Ndiaye and Calvert-Lewin have certainly got enough pace to break that line.
There'll certainly be a lot more asked about us defensively, won't there, on Saturday than there was Sunday. And that's why I'm thinking it wouldn't surprise me to see an old head on there. You can do the dark arts and talk to the lines and talk to the referee and just manage the game on the pitch. Wouldn't surprise me to see Young playing. I think
I can see that, Shane. I can't see anything else, I really can't.
No, I don't think James Garner's fit enough yet. He referenced he was back on the grass at Burnham. I don't think is near it yet. Chibiti and Brozier are gone, so it's limited, isn't it? You're not going to bring Jack Harrison back in. You're just not. You're not going to start Harrison Armstrong. You're just not. You're not going to start Michael Keane. You're just not. So there's only one or two you can make.
I guess you can only, and it's probably not going to be a change from the start. If we did make any additions, they might come in toward the end of the game. But I'd be surprised. I think that maybe the Lindstrom for Young is a good shout. But apart from that, I think he'd probably stick to.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if in the managers and the analysts office at Finch Farm, they've got the next 2 games down as, can we get 4 points?
I was going to say, I mean, 4 points would be great. And this sounds terribly negative. If someone said to me, you're going to go there, job, Brighton are going to win 1-0, I'm more asked about the Leicester game.
Yeah, Leicester's huge. Leicester is huge.
I think if someone said to me, there's not going to be any damage done to morale, Brighton are going to play really well, they compete, we compete, and they beat you by the odd goal, I'd take it without any injuries, go into the Leicester game and know that we've got to.
I do think they're looking at blocks of fixtures. I don't think. I think we know that Moyes used to do that. He used to. Remember the derby at Anfield that he threw away?
Yeah.
Because we had Middlesbrough in the FA Cup quarter-final, or Sunderland, in the FA Cup quarter-final. So he does do that. Not to say he's going to throw Brighton away, not at all alluding to that, but I do think he sees the bigger picture. And he might think, what you're saying there, if you don't get done 4 or 5, and my morale's not dented, I get the back in Monday, we can work on Leicester. I think he'll go for a draw, and I'd certainly take it.
Yeah, definitely. Prediction?
1-1. A goal each half. I think Everton to score first.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go 0-0.
Good old 0-0.
Good old 0-0. Just take the 0-0 and go back. No, and it would be a very, very well-earned point, I think, for us to try and get 0-0 there. But yeah, let us know your thoughts, obviously, particularly on the analysis of yesterday, who you'd like to see us bring in. Really appreciate the questions, as always, from you as viewers. Again, I think it was a brilliant day for us as Evertonians yesterday. Hopefully many more of them to come between now and the end of the season. Hopefully, as Millsy said so passionately on so many occasions, we can now start to give the old lady the credit and the memories it deserves over the next few months. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. Please like or subscribe if you haven't already. Enjoy the rest of your week, and up the Toffees.